The ballroom fell silent. Every eye turned toward the doorway where Catherine, Princess of Wales, stood frozen. Her hand flew to her throat, fingers trembling against bare skin. The sapphire necklace, the one Queen Elizabeth had personally gifted her, was gone. Guard Marcus. Reed had been watching from his position near the east entrance. 20 years of service had taught him to notice everything. And tonight, he had noticed far too much. It started 3 hours earlier, before the charity gala began. Marcus stood at his post as guests arrived in their glittering gowns and tailored suits. He watched Kate enter through the private entrance, the sapphire necklace catching the light with every step. She smiled at him, that genuine warmth she was known for. The necklace sat perfectly against her collarbone. Impossible to miss, but someone else was watching too. Queen Camilla arrived moments later through the same entrance. Her eyes locked onto Kate's necklace immediately. Marcus saw her expression shift, just for a second. Something cold flickered across her face before the royal smile returned. She said something to her lady-in-waiting, who nodded quickly and disappeared down the corridor. Marcus felt uneasy. He had seen that look before, in places he tried to forget from his military days. It was the look of someone calculating their next move. The gala proceeded smoothly. Champagne flowed. Orchestra music filled the gilded halls. Kate moved through the crowd with grace, speaking with donors and dignitaries. Marcus tracked her movements from his position, standard protocol for royal protection. She touched the necklace once, adjusting it slightly. It was still there at 8:30, then came the incident in the powder room. Marcus was stationed outside, and he heard raised voices. Not shouting, royals never shout, but the sharp, clipped tones that cut deeper than screams. He recognized both voices immediately. Kate and Camilla. It was a gift from Her Majesty. Kate's voice carried through the door, tight with emotion. Many things were gifts. Camilla's reply was ice. Not all of them were meant to be flaunted. Silence followed, then footsteps. The door opened, and Camilla emerged, her expression serene, perfectly composed. She glided past Marcus without acknowledgement. Behind her, Kate stood at the mirror, one hand pressed against the necklace. Her eyes bright with unshed tears. Marcus said nothing. It wasn't his place. But he watched. He always watched. 20 minutes later, Kate returned to the ballroom. The necklace still gleamed at her throat. She rejoined the guests, though her smile seemed more fragile now. Marcus noticed Camilla watching from across the room, that same calculating expression, barely hidden behind a champagne glass. Then the lights dimmed for the charity presentation. When they rose again, Marcus scanned the room instinctively. Kate stood near the stage, speaking with the French ambassador. But something was wrong. Her hand went to her throat. Her eyes widened. The necklace was gone, and Marcus had seen everything that happened in those dark minutes. Every movement, every shadow, every truth. If you want to know what really happened in that ballroom, make sure you're subscribed, because what Marcus witnessed will change everything you thought you knew about the royal family. This story goes deeper than anyone could imagine. The panic spread through the ballroom like wildfire. Whispers erupted. Heads turned. Kate's face had gone pale, her fingers still searching her bare collarbone as if the necklace might reappear. Security staff moved swiftly toward her, their expressions grave. But Marcus Reed didn't move. Not yet, because he had seen something no one else had noticed. And what he knew would shake the foundations of the palace itself. Asterisk, the head of security, James Thornton, appeared at Kate's side within seconds. His voice was low, urgent. "Your Royal Highness, when did you last feel the necklace?" Kate's hand trembled as she touched her throat again. Just before the lights went down. I'm certain. I remember adjusting it." Marcus watched the scene unfold from his position. Other guests pretended not to stare, but their eyes darted toward the princess. The orchestra had stopped playing. Even the air felt heavy with tension. "We need to secure the room," Thornton said into his radio. "No one leaves until we locate the item." Across the ballroom, Camilla stood perfectly still. Her champagne glass rested in her hand, untouched. She wasn't looking at Kate. She was looking at the floor near the stage. And she was smiling. Just slightly. Just enough. Marcus's jaw tightened. He had seen that smile before too. His mind replayed the moments during the darkness. The presentation had begun, and the lights had dimmed for the video display. Most people had turned toward the screen, but Marcus's eyes had adjusted quickly, a skill from years of night operations. He had maintained his visual sweep of the room. He had seen Kate standing near the stage, her attention on the screen. He had seen the figure move behind her. Quick, practiced. A hand reaching toward Kate's neck. The subtle movement as fingers worked the clasp. Then the shadow melting back into the darkness. It had taken less than 5 seconds, and Marcus knew exactly who that shadow belonged to. But protocol was ironclad. He couldn't speak without being addressed. He couldn't act without orders. So he stood at his post watching the chaos build. Watching the truth hide itself in plain sight, staff members began searching the floor around Kate. On their hands and knees, they combed through the carpet, checked under chairs, examined every inch of marble. Kate stood frozen, her composure cracking. This wasn't just jewelry. This was a piece of Queen Elizabeth. A bond between grandmother and granddaughter. A symbol of acceptance into the family. Prince William arrived, his face tight with concern. He placed a hand on Kate's shoulder, leaning close to whisper something only she could hear. She nodded, but her eyes remained glassy. Thornton approached Marcus. "Did you see anything, Reed? Anything at all during the blackout?" This was the moment. Marcus could speak now. But what he said next would have consequences. Enormous consequences. Accusing royalty wasn't just serious, it was career-ending, reputation, destroying, possibly even dangerous. He met Thornton's eyes. "Sir, I may have observed something during the presentation." "What did you see?" Marcus hesitated. Not from fear, but from the weight of what he was about to unleash. "I saw someone approach the princess during the darkness. Someone removed the necklace deliberately." Thornton's expression sharpened. "Can you identify who it was?" "Yes, sir." "I can. Then tell me." Marcus drew a breath. 20 years of service? 20 years of loyalty to the crown. But loyalty meant protecting the innocent, not covering for the guilty. It was found it. A voice rang out across the ballroom. Everyone turned. A staff member stood near the refreshment table, holding something up. The sapphire necklace dangled from her fingers, catching the light, but something was wrong. Marcus could see it from where he stood. The clasp was open, but not broken. The chain was intact. If it had simply fallen, the clasp would have shown stress. This clasp had been opened cleanly. Professionally, Kate rushed toward the staff member, relief flooding her features. She took the necklace with shaking hands, examining it closely. "Thank God," she whispered. "Thank God." William embraced her. The crowd relaxed. Conversations resumed. The orchestra began playing again. Crisis averted. Except it worked. Marcus looked across the ballroom. Camilla had moved closer to the refreshment table during the commotion. She stood now near the spot where the necklace had been found, her expression one of gentle concern. She approached Kate, reaching out to touch her arm. "My dear, what a fright you must have had," Camilla said, her voice dripping with sympathy. "These old clasps can be so unreliable. Perhaps you should have it checked by the royal jeweler." Kate nodded, still clutching the necklace. Yes, I will." "Such a relief it wasn't lost," Camilla continued. "Her Majesty would have been devastated. She treasured that piece so dearly." The words landed like knives wrapped in silk. Kate's smile faltered. She knew. Somewhere deep down, she knew. But what could she say? What could she prove? Marcus watched the exchange, his fists clenched at his sides. Thornton had walked away, satisfied with the resolution. The case was closed. The necklace was found. Everything was fine. But Marcus knew the truth. And he knew something else too. The necklace hadn't been lying near the refreshment table. He had maintained visual contact with that area throughout the chaos. It had been placed there, recently, by someone who had been standing in exactly that spot. Someone who knew exactly where to discover it, to look like a hero instead of a thief. The gala ended 2 hours later. Guests departed in a stream of designer gowns and black cars. Marcus remained at his post, watching the family members leave through the private exit. Kate walked with William, the necklace now safely in a velvet box tucked under her arm. Her smile was back, but it didn't reach her eyes. Camilla left separately, flanked by her own security detail. As she passed Marcus, she paused. Just for a moment. Her eyes met his, and in that fraction of a second, he saw recognition. She knew that he knew. Then she was gone, disappearing into the night. Marcus finished his shift at 2 in the morning. He drove home through empty London streets, his mind replaying every detail. The confrontation in the powder room. The calculated look on Camilla's face. The precise theft during the blackout. The convenient discovery near the refreshment table. It was planned. All of it. But why? What did Camilla gain from stealing a necklace only to have it found minutes later? It made no sense, unless... Marcus pulled into his driveway and sat in the darkness. Unless the point wasn't to steal the necklace. The point was to humiliate Kate. To make her panic. To remind her that nothing was truly hers, not even gifts from the late queen. To demonstrate power, it was a message. A warning. Sleep didn't come that night. Marcus lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wrestling with his conscience. He had evidence. He had witnessed a crime against a member of the royal family. His duty was clear. But was it? Accusing the queen consort of theft? Of deliberately targeting the Princess of Wales? The scandal would be nuclear. The media would feast on it for months. The monarchy itself might not survive the damage. And what proof did he really have? His word against hers? In the darkness? With no cameras in that section of the ballroom? It would be dismissed. He would be dismissed. Possibly worse, by morning, Marcus had made his decision. He would document everything he saw and wait. Watch. If this was an isolated incident, he would let it rest. But if it was part of a pattern... 3 days later, his phone rang. Unknown number, Marcus read. A woman's voice, cultured, careful, speaking. My name is Victoria Chen. I'm a lady-in-waiting to the Princess of Wales. She would like to speak with you. Privately, can you meet today? Marcus's pulse quickened. When and where? They arranged to meet at a small cafe in Kensington, far from the palace. When Marcus arrived, he found Kate sitting in a corner booth. Dressed casually in jeans and a sweater, sunglasses hiding her eyes despite being indoors. Victoria sat beside her. Watching the door, Kate removed her sunglasses as Marcus sat down. Her eyes were red-rimmed. She hadn't been sleeping either. Thank you for coming, she said quietly. I know this is unusual. Your Royal Highness, I'm here to serve. She shook her head. Please, just Kate, for this conversation. Oh. She wrapped her hands around a teacup, though the tea had long gone cold. Victoria tells me you were stationed at the east entrance during the gala, that you saw everything. I observed various events throughout the evening. Did you see what happened to my necklace? Silence stretched between them. This was the moment. The choice. Truth or protection. Duty or discretion. Marcus leaned forward. Yes, ma'am. I saw exactly what happened. Relief washed over Kate's face. Her eyes filled with tears. Thank God. I thought I was going mad. Everyone says the clasp must have failed. That I was careless. But I know that necklace. I checked it before the presentation. It was secure. It was, Marcus confirmed. The clasp didn't fail. Victoria leaned in, her voice urgent. Tell us everything you saw. Marcus laid it out. The confrontation in the powder room. Camilla's calculating expressions. The figure moving behind Kate during the blackout. The professional removal of the necklace. The convenient discovery near the refreshment table where Camilla had positioned herself. Kate's tears spilled over. She hates me, she whispered. She's always hated me. But this... I didn't think she would go this far. There's more you need to know, Victoria said, looking at Marcus. This isn't the first incident, Kate nodded, wiping her eyes. 3 weeks ago, my personal correspondence went missing from my office. Letters from my children. They turned up 2 days later in a palace rubbish bin. Staff said I must have accidentally thrown them away. And before that, Victoria continued. Several of Her Royal Highness's scheduled appearances were mysteriously removed from the official calendar. She showed up to events that had been cancelled without her knowledge. Made her look disorganized. Marcus felt his stomach tighten. How long has this been happening? 6 months, Kate said. Since the coronation. Small things at first. Things I couldn't prove. Things that made me look forgetful or difficult. But it's escalating. She pulled out her phone and showed Marcus a text message. Unknown sender. The words made his blood run cold. You'll never be queen. You don't belong. Leave while you still can. I've received 5 of these, Kate said. Untraceable. I reported them, but security found nothing. Marcus studied the message. Professional. Anonymous. Threatening. And you believe the queen consort is behind all of this? Kate met his eyes. I know she is, but I can't prove it. No one will believe me. They'll say I'm paranoid or jealous or trying to cause trouble. The media already paints me as difficult. This would destroy me. Then why am I here? Marcus asked. Because you saw the truth, Kate said simply. And I need someone to believe me. I need evidence. I need help. Victoria placed a folder on the table. We've been documenting everything. Every incident, every strange occurrence, but it's all circumstantial. We need a witness. Someone credible. Someone with no agenda. Marcus looked at the folder, then at Kate's desperate face, then at Victoria's determined expression. Everything in his training screamed at him to walk away. This was palace politics. This was dangerous territory. This could end his career and possibly his freedom. But he thought of that smile on Camilla's face. That cold, calculating smile. He thought of Kate's hand at her throat, searching for a necklace that had been stolen to humiliate her. He opened the folder. The folder contained dozens of pages. Photographs of damaged belongings, screenshots of canceled appointments, copies of the threatening messages, timeline spanning 6 months of incidents, each one seemingly innocent on its own. Together, they formed a picture of systematic harassment. Marcus read through each page carefully. This is extensive. Have you shown this to anyone else? Victoria shook her head. Who would we show it to? The king. Tell him his wife is tormenting his daughter-in-law. Palace administration. They serve the queen consort. The police? They'd laugh at us. Royals don't file police reports against each other. Kate's voice was barely audible. I feel trapped. I can't speak out. I can't defend myself. Marcus closed the folder. What do you want me to do? Watch, Kate said. Document. When you're on duty, if you see anything at all, record it. Date, time, witnesses. Build a case that can't be dismissed. And if I find proof? Kate and Victoria exchanged glances. Then we take it to someone we can trust, Victoria said. Someone outside the palace structure. Someone who can't be influenced. Marcus understood. They meant the media, or worse, the government. Yes. This would become a constitutional crisis. The monarchy would be torn apart from the inside. You understand what you're asking? Marcus said carefully. If this becomes public, the damage will be catastrophic. Not just to the queen consort, to the entire institution. I know, Kate whispered. Believe me, I know. I've spent 13 years protecting this family. Smiling for cameras. Following protocol. Putting the crown above everything, including myself. Not while someone uses their position to destroy me piece by piece. Her voice broke. I have 3 children who watch me, who see me getting smaller, quieter, more afraid. What am I teaching them? That bullies win if they wear a crown? That you should suffer in silence if speaking up might cause embarrassment? Marcus had daughters. He understood. No, he said. You're teaching them that truth matters, even when it's hard. Kate nodded, tears streaming down her face. So will you help us? Marcus thought of his pension, his reputation, his quiet life, everything he had built over 20 years of service. He thought of what he would lose. Then he thought of that smile. That cold, triumphant smile. Yes, he said, I'll help. The plan was simple. Marcus would maintain his regular duties, but pay special attention whenever Camilla and Kate were in proximity. He would document everything. Victoria would pass him a secure phone for encrypted communication. They would meet monthly to review findings. It felt like espionage. In a way it was. The first week yielded nothing unusual. Marcus watched. He waited. He documented routine interactions and normal palace business. The second week brought the incident at the state dinner. Heads of state from 12 countries attended. Marcus was assigned to the main dining hall, positioned where he could observe both family tables. Kate sat with the French president and his wife, conversing in flawless French. She was radiant, confident. In her element, Camilla sat at the head table with the king. She watched Kate throughout the meal, not obviously, just occasional glances. But Marcus noticed, halfway through the third course, a server approached Kate with a wine bottle. Kate nodded, and the server poured. Kate lifted the glass, still engaged in conversation with the French First Lady. She took a sip. Her expression changed immediately. She coughed once, then set the glass down quickly, her face flushing red. The French First Lady leaned in with concern. Kate waved her off, smiling through obvious discomfort. Reaching for water, Marcus watched the server who had poured the wine. The man retreated quickly toward the kitchen, his movements nervous. Ouch! But before he disappeared, he glanced toward the head table, directly at Camilla. Marcus's pulse hammered. He couldn't abandon his post, couldn't follow. But he memorized the server's face, his build, everything. Kate excused herself quietly and left the dining hall. Marcus watched Camilla's expression. Satisfaction. Pure satisfaction. 20 minutes later, Kate returned, composed but pale. She finished the dinner with grace, but Marcus could see the tension in her shoulders. After the event, Marcus found the server's name on the staff list. David Morrison. Hired 3 months ago. Previous employer, a private catering company owned by a subsidiary. That traced back to someone in Camilla's inner circle. He documented everything and sent it to Victoria's encrypted line. Her response came an hour later. Kate was ill all night. Doctor confirmed something in the wine. It's probably spoiled, they said, but the bottle was from a sealed case. Marcus stared at his phone. This wasn't just harassment anymore. This was potentially dangerous. The incidents escalated over the following weeks. Kate's brakes failed on her car. Mechanical failure. According to the royal garage, though, the car was only 2 years old and regularly maintained. Marcus noted that the garage chief had been replaced a month earlier with someone recommended by Camilla's staff. A photographer somehow gained access to a private family area and took photos of Kate with her children. The pictures appeared in a tabloid the next day. Security blamed an intern's error. Marcus discovered the intern was a cousin of Camilla's personal secretary. Kate's private email was hacked. Personal messages to her mother appeared online. The IT department blamed a phishing scam. Marcus found evidence that someone with administrative access had disabled her security protocols from inside the palace network. Each incident had plausible deniability. Each could be explained away. But together, the pattern was undeniable. And through it all, Marcus watched Camilla move through the palace like a chess master. Her pieces positioned perfectly, her smile never faltering. The breaking point came 6 weeks after Marcus began his investigation. Kate was scheduled to give a speech at a children's hospital. She had worked on it for weeks. It was deeply personal about children's mental health, a cause close to her heart. Marcus wasn't assigned to that event. He was stationed at the palace. But Victoria sent him an urgent message at noon. Something's wrong. Kate's speech notes are gone. She's due on stage in an hour. Marcus knew where to look. He had been mapping Camilla's movements, her access points, her opportunities. If the notes were taken, they would be somewhere close. Somewhere Kate couldn't easily search without causing suspicion. He found them in Camilla's sitting room, tucked inside a magazine on the coffee table. Not hidden, just misplaced, as if they had accidentally been picked up with other papers. Marcus photographed them where they lay, documented the location. Then he faced an impossible choice. He could leave them there and let Kate struggle through her speech. Let her look unprepared, unreliable, at another mark against her reputation. Or he could take them, return them somehow. But that would mean entering the queen consort's private quarters without authorization. It would mean crossing a line he couldn't uncross. Marcus looked at the notes. Kate's handwriting. Personal stories about children she had met. Words meant to bring hope and comfort. He picked them up and walked out. Marcus drove like his life depended on it. He called Victoria from his car, voice tight with urgency. I have the notes. Where is she now? En route to the hospital. Marcus, how did you know time? Can you intercept her? I'm with her. In the car. Tell her to check her bag. Tell her the notes will be in the inside pocket. Don't ask questions. Just do it. Marcus pulled over 3 blocks from the hospital. He had maybe 10 minutes before Camilla discovered the notes were missing. Maybe less. He ran the remaining distance, cutting through side streets, until he reached the hospital's service entrance. A guard stopped him. Marcus flashed his credentials. Royal protection. Urgent delivery. The guard waved him through. Marcus sprinted down corridors, following signs toward the main event hall. He found Kate's security detail outside a preparation room. Victoria stood with them, her face pale with stress. She's inside, Victoria whispered. She's panicking. Marcus handed her the notes. Inside pocket of her bag. Make it look like they were there all along. Like she missed them. Victoria stared at him. Marcus, what did you do? What I had to. Go. Victoria disappeared inside. Marcus leaned against the wall, catching his breath. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Where are they? Camilla's voice. Ice and fury. Marcus's stomach dropped. Your Majesty, don't play games with me, Mr. Reed. I know you were in my sitting room. I know you took something that didn't belong to you. Return it immediately, or I will have you arrested for theft. I don't know what you're talking about. You have 1 hour? My office. If you're not there with what you took, I will personally ensure you never work in security again. Anywhere. Do you understand? The line went dead. Marcus stood frozen. She had him. Somehow she knew. Cameras? Witnesses? It didn't matter. He had crossed the line, and she had caught him. The door opened. Kate emerged, notes in hand, relief written across her face. She saw Marcus, and her expression shifted to concern. What's wrong? Marcus couldn't answer. Victoria appeared behind Kate, understanding dawning in her eyes as she saw his face. Go give your speech, Victoria said to Kate gently. We'll handle this. Kate looked between them, then at Marcus. What happened? Your speech notes, Marcus said quietly. They were in Camilla's sitting room. I retrieved them. She knows. Kate's face went white. Oh God, Marcus. Why would you? Because you needed them. Because you worked hard on that speech. Because those children deserve to hear what you have to say. Tears filled Kate's eyes. But you could lose everything. I know. She reached out and gripped his arm. Then we fight. Together. No more hiding. No more letting her win, Your Royal Highness. With respect, I broke protocol. Entered private quarters without authorization. She can have me charged. Not if I authorize it, Kate said firmly. Not if I asked you to retrieve my stolen property. Victoria shook her head. It won't work. She'll say the notes weren't stolen, that they were accidentally mixed with her papers. It becomes he said shist. Then we need more, Kate said. We need proof that she's been systematically targeting me. We need everything Marcus has documented. We need witnesses. We need the king, Victoria finished. Silence fell. The king, Charles, the one person who might believe Kate, or might choose his wife over his daughter-in-law. The risk was enormous. Marcus checked his watch. I have 45 minutes before I'm supposed to report to her office. After that, this all becomes official. Criminal. Public. Kate straightened her shoulders. Then we have 45 minutes to tell the truth. She looked at Marcus. Where is your documentation? Encrypted cloud drive. Password protected. Can you access it from here? Yes, but then do it. Victoria, call the king's private secretary. Tell him it's urgent. Family matter. Do not mention what it's about. Just get us a meeting now." Victoria hesitated. "Kate, if this backfires, it won't." Kate's voice carried a strength Marcus hadn't heard before. "I'm done being afraid. I'm done being pushed around. I'm done pretending everything is fine while someone destroys me, piece by piece. You put your career on the line for me. The least I can do is use my position to protect you. We do this together or not at all." Marcus nodded. Together. 40 minutes later, they sat in a private office at the hospital. Kate had given her speech powerful, moving, perfect. Now they waited for the king's response to Victoria's urgent request. Marcus's phone showed the documentation on screen. Months of incidents, patterns, evidence, everything laid out clearly. His career sat in those files. His future. His credibility, Kate paced. Victoria sat with her hands clasped, prayer-like. Marcus remained still, soldier-trained, waiting. The call came. Victoria answered, listened, then nodded. "He'll see us, now, at the palace." They drove in tense silence. Kate stared out the window. Marcus held the tablet with his evidence. Victoria made notes on her phone, preparing talking points. When they arrived at the palace, they were ushered into the king's private study. Charles stood by the window, his face grave. He had been briefed that something serious was coming. "But not what, Catherine," he said gently. "What's this about?" Kate stepped forward. Her hands shook slightly, but her voice held firm. "Father, I need to tell you something I should have told you months ago. And I need you to listen with an open heart and an open mind." Charles's expression darkened with concern. "Of course. Please, sit." Kate remained standing. "I can't sit. If I sit, I might lose my nerve." She drew a breath. "Camilla has been targeting me. For 6 months, systematically, deliberately, she's been trying to break me. And it's worked. I'm broken. But I can't stay silent anymore." The king's face went pale. "Catherine, that's a serious accusation. I have proof," Kate interrupted. "Documented evidence. Witness testimony. Patterns of harassment that can't be explained away. And I have Marcus Reed, one of your most trusted guards, who has seen firsthand what she's doing." Charles looked at Marcus. "Is this true?" Marcus met the king's eyes. "Yes, Your Majesty. I've witnessed multiple incidents. I've documented them all. And I've put my career at risk to bring this to your attention, because I swore an oath to protect this family. All of it, including the Princess of Wales." "Show me," Charles said quietly. Marcus handed him the tablet. For 30 minutes, the king read in silence. He studied photographs, reviewed timelines, read threatening messages, examined evidence of tampering, theft, and deliberate sabotage. His hands began to shake. His face shifted from pale to red. When he finally looked up, his eyes were filled with something Marcus had never seen in a royal before: rage. The king set down the tablet with deliberate care. His jaw was clenched so tight Marcus could see the muscles working. For a long moment, he said nothing, just stared at the evidence that his wife had waged a campaign of psychological warfare against his daughter-in-law. Charles finally asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Victoria checked her phone. "In her office, Your Majesty. She's expecting Marcus within the next few minutes." Charles stood. "She'll get Marcus, and she'll get me." He looked at Kate, and his expression softened with pain. "Catherine, why didn't you come to me sooner?" Kate's composure cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Because I was afraid you wouldn't believe me. Because I thought you'd choose her over me. Because I didn't want to put you in that position. You love her. And I didn't want to be the person who destroyed that." Charles crossed to her and pulled her into an embrace. Kate broke down completely, sobbing against his shoulder. "I'm so sorry," he murmured. "I'm so sorry I didn't see it. That I didn't protect you." Victoria discreetly wiped her own eyes. Marcus looked away, giving them privacy in their grief. When Kate finally composed herself, Charles stepped back. "Marcus, Victoria, you've both shown extraordinary courage and loyalty. You've protected my family when I failed too. I won't forget that. He straightened his jacket, every inch the king now. Let's go see my wife. They walked through the palace corridors in formation. Charles in front, Kate beside him, Victoria and Marcus following. Staff members they passed stopped and stared, sensing something momentous in the air. They reached Camilla's office. Charles didn't knock. He simply opened the door and walked in. Camilla sat at her desk, perfectly composed. She looked up with practiced surprise. Charles, darling. I wasn't expecting she saw Kate and the others. Her expression shifted minutely. What's this about? I think you know, Charles said coldly. Camilla stood, smoothing her skirt. I'm afraid I don't. Though I do need to speak with Mr. Reed about a matter of theft. Stop. Charles's voice cracked like a whip. Just stop. I've seen everything. The documentation. The evidence. The pattern of harassment spanning 6 months. I know what you've done. Camilla's mask didn't slip. I don't know what Catherine has told you, but I can assure you the necklace, Charles continued. At the charity gala, Marcus witnessed you steal it during the blackout. Witnessed you plant it near the refreshment table to be found. That's where this started unraveling, Camilla. Because you got sloppy, arrogant. Camilla's face finally changed. A flash of something cold and hard. One guard's word against mine? Really, Charles? You're going to believe. I'm going to believe the evidence, Charles said, holding up the tablet. Months of it. Staff members you placed. Access you arranged. Messages you sent. The wine incident at the state dinner. Kate's car. The leaked emails. Her stolen speech notes, which Marcus found in this very room. He stepped closer to his wife. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Or did you simply not care? Camilla lifted her chin. I care about protecting this family. About protecting you. She gestured toward Kate, has always been a distraction. Too popular. Too beloved. Overshadowing you at every turn. Overshadowing me. Someone had to remind her of her place. The words hung in the air like poison. Kate inhaled sharply. Marcus felt his fists clench. Victoria's mouth fell open. Charles stared at his wife as if seeing her for the first time. Her place? She's the Princess of Wales, the future queen consort, the mother of my grandchildren. Her place is beside my son, serving this country with grace and dignity, which she has done. Despite you doing everything in your power to break her, she needed to be stronger, Camilla said, her voice sharp now, the mask fully dropped. If she can't handle a little pressure, how will she handle the crown? This wasn't pressure, Charles said, his voice shaking with fury. This was cruelty. This was bullying. This was abuse of power and position. And it ends. Now. Camilla's expression hardened. And what exactly do you plan to do, Charles? Divorce me? Create another scandal for the monarchy? Your mother barely survived one heir's divorce. Do you think the crown can handle another? Do you think you can handle another? I think, Charles said carefully, that I can handle the truth. Whatever consequences it brings. Silence filled the room. The weight of what hung in the balance was crushing. The monarchy. The family. Decades of tradition and protocol. All teetering on this moment, Kate stepped forward. I don't want a divorce. I don't want scandal. I don't want to destroy this family. She looked at Camilla directly. I just want it to stop. I want to feel safe in my own home. I want to do my work without sabotage. I want to raise my children without fear. Camilla stared at her. And if I refuse, then we release everything, Kate said quietly. Every document. Every piece of evidence. We let the public decide. We let history decide. And we face whatever comes. You wouldn't dare, Camilla hissed. The damage would be catastrophic. I know, Kate said, but I'm willing to risk it. Because staying silent hasn't protected anyone. It's only empowered you. Charles looked at his wife. You have a choice, Camilla. You can agree to terms. Cease all contact with Catherine unless absolutely necessary for official functions. Submit to independent oversight of your household staff. Undergo mediation. Make this right. Or we go public, and you face the consequences of your actions in the full glare of media scrutiny. Camilla's hands trembled. For the first time, Marcus saw fear in her eyes. Real fear. She had been caught, cornered, and she knew it. Fine, she said finally, the word bitter. I'll agree to your terms. Not mine, Charles corrected. Catherine's. She decides what accountability looks like. It's not me. Not you. Her. Over the next hour, terms were established. Camilla would issue a private apology to Kate. She would have no access to Kate's schedule, correspondence, or personal spaces. Her household staff would be reviewed and replaced where necessary. She would attend mediation sessions with a therapist specializing in family dynamics. And if even one incident occurred in the future, the evidence would be released immediately. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't justice in any traditional sense. But it was protection. It was boundaries. It was acknowledgement that what had happened was real and wrong. When they finally left Camilla's office, Kate was shaking with exhaustion and relief. Charles embraced her again. I'm proud of you, he said. Standing up took more courage than I can fathom. I couldn't have done it without Marcus, Kate said, looking at the guard who had risked everything. He saw the truth when no one else would. Charles turned to Marcus. You violated protocol, entered private quarters without authorization, took items that weren't yours. Marcus braced himself. And you did it because you saw someone in need and chose to help rather than hide behind rules. That's the kind of man I want protecting this family. He extended his hand. Thank you, Marcus, truly. Marcus shook the king's hand, overwhelmed. I was just doing my duty, Your Majesty. No, Kate said softly. You did more than duty. You did what was right. Even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. 3 months later, Marcus stood at his usual post during a state reception. He watched Kate move through the crowd with confidence restored. Her smile was genuine now. Her shoulders were back. The fear was gone from her eyes. Camilla attended as required, but she kept her distance. She followed the terms exactly. The mediation was ongoing. The healing would take time, but the harassment had stopped. That night, as Marcus finished his shift, Victoria approached him. Kate wanted me to give you this, she said, handing him an envelope. Inside was a handwritten note and a photograph. The photo showed Kate with her children, all of them laughing, happy, safe. The note read, Dear Marcus, thank you for seeing me when I felt invisible. Thank you for believing me when I felt crazy. Thank you for standing up when it mattered most. You gave me back my voice. You gave me back my strength. You gave me back my life. I will never forget what you did. Neither will my children. You're their hero, and mine. With deepest gratitude, Catherine. And Marcus folded the note carefully and placed it in his pocket. He thought about that night at the gala. The stolen necklace. The cold smile. The moment he had chosen truth over silence, he had risked everything. His career. His reputation. His future. But looking at that photograph of Kate and her children, free and happy and safe, Marcus knew he would make the same choice again, every single time, because that's what real duty looked like. Not blind loyalty to titles and positions, but unwavering commitment to protecting those who couldn't protect themselves, even when it cost everything, especially then.